I was still in my uniform when the call came. The voice on the other end was low, clinical, but it carried the weight of a gunshot to the chest. "Your daughter is stable after 3 surgeries," the ER nurse said. "You don't want to know what your wife's boyfriend did." My pulse slowed, a heavy rhythm echoing in my skull. She hesitated, lowered her voice, as though someone might be listening. "The police refused to file a complaint. He's waiting outside the bar." A pause. "He's all yours." The line went dead, but the words burned themselves into me. I drove home in silence, my boots still caked with dirt from the base, my fatigues heavy with the scent of oil and gunpowder. Every stoplight blurred past me, every face in the traffic melted into shadows. I carried only one promise inside me: he wouldn't see next sunrise. The streets were damp with midnight rain when I found the bar. The neon lights sputtered like a dying nerve, red and blue bleeding into the asphalt. And there he was, leaning against the wall, cigarette dangling between his fingers, the smug grin of a man who believed he was untouchable. The kind of grin I had seen overseas, plastered on warlords who thought their power would last forever. He didn't notice me at first. My boots moved slow, measured, the way we approached houses laced with IEDs. I stopped just outside the pool of light that framed him and let his shadow stretch toward me. "You," I said, my voice flat. He turned, eyebrows lifting in mock surprise. "Well, if it isn't the soldier boy." His tone dripped contempt. "Your daughter." "Don't." The word froze him. For a moment, the arrogance cracked, but then he smirked again, mistaking my calm for weakness. "You weren't here to stop me," he said, "and you won't be here to stop what comes next. The cops? They're on my side. Your wife, she." I stepped forward, the rain hissing as it hit the barrel of the pistol I'd carried home from the desert. His eyes flicked down, then back up to mine. "You wouldn't," he whispered. "You already know what I am," I told him. I thought of my daughter, her tiny hand wrapped in gauze, her chest rising with the effort of borrowed breaths. The image was sharper than any battlefield memory, crueler than any ambush. I remembered holding her the day she was born, her cry piercing and pure. I had promised then to protect her, no matter where I was sent, no matter what war I fought. But I had failed. This was the war that mattered. He flicked his cigarette at my boots, a final act of defiance. "Go ahead," he said. "Pull the trigger. You'll rot in prison. Your daughter will grow up without you." For the first time that night, I smiled. It wasn't warm. It was the smile I wore overseas, right before breaching a door. "She already grew up with me," I said. The gunshot cracked like thunder, swallowed by the rain. He fell back against the wall, eyes wide, hand clawing at the darkness blooming on his chest. The cigarette ember fizzled on the wet ground, just another dying star. I stood over him as his breath rattled, shallow and broken. He looked up at me with something new in his eyes, not arrogance, not power, just fear. "Why?" he rasped. I leaned close, my voice steady, my words for him alone. "Because justice refused." "But I don't." His body went still. The night seemed to inhale, the rain softening to a whisper. I walked away without looking back. The world outside the bar carried on as if nothing had happened. Laughter spilling from nearby streets, cars hissing on wet pavement, neon signs flickering. Life was indifferent, as it always was. When I got home, I sat by my daughter's bed. Machines hummed around her, keeping her tethered to this world. Her face was pale, fragile, but she was breathing. That was enough. I took her hand in mine, the same hand I had once promised to protect. I bent close, whispering so only she could hear. "It's over." She stirred faintly, her eyelids fluttering. I squeezed her hand gently, grounding her back into this world. Somewhere inside, I knew the law would come for me eventually. The badge would knock on my door, the cuffs would bite my wrists, the cell would close behind me. But none of it mattered. I had already made peace with the cost. Because the man who broke her would never see another sunrise. And as I sat in that hospital room, the beeping monitors steady and calm, I realized something simple and final. War had followed me home.